Hi you two and welcome back. I hope you all had a brilliant half term and made the most of the sunny weather that we had. So I apologise for the washing machine noise in the background. I didn't time this video very well. Anyway, this is your first week back and this is your final week on Amazing Animal Journeys before we move on to a brand new text. So before we broke up for half term, you did a little bit of research on what you wanted to write your explanation text on, and you turned those notes into a text map ready to write your explanation text after half term. Well, that time has come now where you need to write your explanation text. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through a checklist of things that I taught you before half term that I would like to see in your writing. Then I'll model what I would like your writing to look like, and then it's over to you to have a go yourself. So here I've got an explanation checklist. Well, it will be once we've filled it in together. Hopefully you can see that okay. So the first thing that we must remember to write in our explanation text, or must remember to use, is capital letters and full stops. So I want you to use capital letters and full stops. The second thing I like to use are conjunctions. So and, but, so, because, all of those conjunctions that I have taught you while you've been at home and what you can remember from being at school. So conjunctions. The next one, questions. We've looked at questions. So something that requires an answer, something that needs a question mark at the end of it. Commas in a list. So when you're writing a list of 3 and you separate with a comma and the conjunction and. So commas in a list, that could be when you're describing something in your explanation text. You might have 3 adjectives to describe something, so you want to use a comma in a list. We want to use statements. We looked at statements. So writing lots of things that are true. So you might have statements and questions. You might write a question and then you might write the answer in the form of a statement. And in every piece of writing we do, I want neat, cursive writing. Remember, this is your final piece, it's your best piece, so it needs to be in the neatest handwriting. Please don't write this in felt tip pen or coloured pencil. I want you to find yourself a writing pencil and do it like you would do at school. If you make any mistakes, rub it out and make it as neat as possible. You can't do your neatest handwriting if it's in a felt tip pen or if it's in a yellow pencil, okay? So let's get into really good habits, ready for doing our homework in year 3, and let's make sure we get ourselves a writing pencil and we write it beautifully. So here's your checklist: capital letters, full stops, conjunctions, questions, commas in a list, statements, and neat cursive handwriting. So I'm going to show you now how you can use the things in this checklist to write your own explanation text. So the first thing I need to do is write the title of my explanation text, which is going to go at the top of my page here. You can either do a title using your handwriting, or you could do a nice title using bubble writing to make it really stand out and make somebody want to read it. So I think for the quickness of my video, so that you don't get too bored, I'm just going to use my handwriting, but I think it would be really nice if you use lots and lots of different colours. So as you remember, mine is based on the water cycle. So I've just put the title, The Water Cycle. Now I said I want 5 paragraphs, that's 5 chunks of writing, but I said I don't really want any more than 3, maybe 4 sentences per paragraph. So if you were to times that by 5, that would be 15 sentences. 15 sentences in one English lesson isn't a lot if you're concentrating. and all the hard work's been done for you on your text map. You've already done your research, you've turned your notes from your research into a text map. Now you're just writing up your text map. So you're looking at the pictures, thinking what the word says and turning it into a sentence. So I've got the title, The Water Cycle. Now I've already been through the checklist with you, so as I'm writing, I'm just going to see if I'm including any of those things in my checklist. So my first title is going to be Introduction. And within this, by looking at my text map, I notice it just gives you a little brief summary on water. So it's introducing you to the water cycle. How much water have we got in our world? Why do we need water? Okay, so looking at my text map now, I've got a picture of a pizza and it's split into 4 with 3/4 coloured in. There's a world and there's some water, and in between those pictures I've got some arrows. So looking at the pizza, it means 3/4. So 3/4, and it's a world, so I think that might mean planet. So 3/4 planet. That doesn't quite make sense, so I need to add a couple of words in between to make sure it makes sense. So 3/4 of planet, 3/4 of the planet. So 3/4 of the planet's surface. So 3/4 of the planet's surface is, and then it's got lots of water, so it must be water. So 3/4 of the planet's surface is made up of water. And as you can see, I've used my cursive writing. Got a finger space in between. I've tried to do my neatest writing that I can. Okay, so 3/4 of the planet's surface is made up of water. Next sentence. I've got, it's a picture of some water on my text map, and there's some baked bean tins, there's some plastic bottles, it's got a big cross through it, so that's telling me that those things shouldn't be in the water. And then it's got a tick and it says important through it, so I think that means it is really important it is really important to keep the oceans and rivers clean. Now at the moment I'm conscious that I haven't used a conjunction, and I know one of the things in my checklist was to make sure that I use conjunctions, so I'm going to use the conjunction because here. So it is really important to keep the oceans and rivers clean because, making sure I've got that conjunction in there, because without I wonder if I could use a list of 3 here, use my commas in a list. Let's read it from the beginning and see if I can fit one in. 3/4 of the planet's surface is made up of water. It is really important to keep the oceans and rivers clean because without clean, comma, what other word could I use? Fresh. And I know if I'm writing a list of 3, before my last word, I have to use the word and instead of another comma. So it is really important to keep the oceans and rivers clean because without clean, fresh and, what could we say? Without clean, fresh and litter free. So that means we've got no rubbish in there. and litter-free water, there would be no life. So if there was no water, the animals in the water wouldn't be able to survive. And equally, we have to drink water every single day to be able to survive. So if there was no water for us, there would be no life on our planet. So that's my first paragraph. I'm just introducing you to water. Now, lots of you haven't done the water cycle. You've done other things. So in your introduction, you would just make a brief summary of what yours is about. I know I've seen Lily Jean. I know Lily Jean's done hers on fossils. Hers look really good. I've seen somebody else do theirs on growing plants. I've seen somebody else do theirs on seeds. So I can't wait to see all of these different explanation texts. So now I've done my first paragraph, I'm going to move on to the second thing. And I know in the water cycle, they talk about evaporation, and that's on my story map. So I'm going to write the title here, or the subtitle, Evaporation. Now I'm not going to do this paragraph because I didn't see anybody do the water cycle when they handed in their text maps to me. If you didn't hand in your text map and you've done the water cycle, you'll have to use your own notes to help you. This is why it's really important that you hand all of your work in to me so that I can see who's doing what. So in the evaporation section, I'm going to do exactly the same as what I've done here. I'm going to use my text map and I'm going to put the pictures into sentences. I'm going to keep referring to my checklist to make sure I'm including all of those things that I've been asked to include. So I hope you found this helpful this morning, and I cannot wait to see your finished explanation texts. Now, just a little clue. Some of you are thinking, Miss Jackson, you've made some mistakes. I've purposely made a couple of mistakes in my writing because that will lead nicely into tomorrow's editing lesson, where I teach you how to look for punctuation mistakes and how we can edit them without rewriting the whole text. So I can't wait to see yours tomorrow, and have fun writing this.